Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. Look, 2020 has proven to be the year of many things, and the same for 2022. But if you're a small business, this could also be the year you switch to a better payroll. Gusto wasn't just built for small businesses, it was built for the people behind them. Their online payroll is easy to use. Gusto can automatically calculate paychecks and file all your payroll taxes, which means you have more time to run your business. Plus, Gusto does way more than payroll. Gusto helps with time tracking, health insurance, 401ks, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. You get the idea. It's super easy to set up and get started. If you're moving from another provider, they can transfer all your data for you. It's no surprise that 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener to this podcast, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/compliance. That's gusto.com/compliance. I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. The Daily Compliance News for October 14, 2021, the Captain Kirk in Space edition. And we begin with that story. It's really everywhere, but I've linked to it in the Washington Post. William Shatner, Star Trek's Captain Kirk, flies into space and back. 90 years old, becomes the oldest person to go into space. So you can only admire William Shatner for doing this, and I can't think of a better person than Captain Kirk. But this was a part of a larger publicity effort by Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' answer to Elon Musk's SpaceX. And it really points to how you can really make a splash about your product if you hire someone who is iconic to help get the message. And frankly, there's no one more iconic than Captain Kirk about going into space. Next up from the Wall Street Journal. From the Wall Street Journal, a report on the Theranos trial that the former Walgreens CFO says that Theranos asked for an advance payment of $100 million as part of a deal with Walgreens. Total payments by Walgreens to Theranos of $140 million. Also, there was questions about the due diligence done by Walgreens when their former CEO was on the witness stand, which really points to why ongoing due diligence in a variety of areas is so critical. Next up, the New York Times reports that New York City's top corruption watchdog is leaving for the USDA in Manhattan. Margaret Garnett, the commissioner of the city's Department of Investigation, is going to resign and go back to becoming number 2 at the Southern District of New York. Last week, in perhaps her final report, she criticized Mayor de Blasio's use of a security detail for both political and personal reasons, including trips taken during the presidential campaign, findings that the mayor sharply criticized. At her confirmation hearing, Ms. Garnett has told city council members she would hang up if someone called her and tried to pressure her to stop a city investigation. So next month, the Southern District is preparing to try Ghislaine Maxwell, the former companion to Jeffrey Epstein, on sex trafficking charges. So lots going on in the city of New York and the Southern District of New York. And our final story comes to us from a new contributor to the Daily Compliance News for WWL, a television station in New Orleans, which reports that, yes, corruption can kill. And 2 years ago, the Hard Rock Hotel, which was under construction, collapsed, killing 3 people under a raft of allegations of corruption in payments and suppliers. There have been no arrests and no charges in this case, and 4WLL hopes that when it gets to the 3rd anniversary of this horrendous accident in the city of New Orleans, the culpable and guilty parties will be brought to justice. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.